minutes past noon here in Texas on the 4th of March in our 45th episode. And I'm going off script, and I know you don't like it when I do
No,
that,
I don't mind.
especially when we got a jam-packed program. But I got a
Yeah,
new little
that's all
feature.
right. Go for it.
This is our 45th edition, and we're going to talk about famous people who wore 45. We'll do this on every day from now on.
Oh, yeah.
Number 45, Johnny Majors, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Pipe in if you want one.
I'm thinking.
The basketball GOAT,
Oh, no. Michael Jordan
Michael
wore it
Jordan,
for the,
45.
yeah.
Bob Gibson, the
Yeah.
fireballer. Pedro Martinez, the reliever.
Wow.
The great Rudy
Hey, Terry,
Tomjanovich,
buddy. Yeah.
long time
Yeah.
Houston guy, right?
Yeah. Got smacked in the face in a fight, remember?
Yeah. Okay. How about this one? He played for BYU. He was 7'4", and he was, I believe,
Mark
on the.
Eaton. No.
Did Sean Bradley play for them?
Sean Bradley. Yeah, yeah,
Sean
yeah.
Bradley, the great lift. God rest his soul. He won the Heisman for Syracuse and died, and never played a down of pro football. Ernie Davis.
Oh, yeah. The Ernie Davis. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I think Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers was 45.
I would just pull the list. They were mostly
That's good.
late grades.
That's
Okay.
good. All right.
And so we're broadcasting live from our palatial studio in the historic shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. I'm rushing because we got so much stuff to do. And I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch. We got Sam at the board, and we got our man Scott Brooks here.
Thanks, brother.
And we're gonna get real quick.
Yep.
We're turning our calendar.
Oh, yeah.
All
A
right.
new
And
month.
so now March shares the calendar every month with February, except it's
Okay.
3 days longer, and November. And of course,
Oh, February and March are the same?
yeah,
Yeah, I guess they would be.
Yeah.
Except in a leap year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Makes
we'll put
sense.
that up later on.
Yep, our calendar.
Take it, boy.
You learn stuff here, folks. Thanks for being with us. Sorry we missed you on Tuesday, but with the dadgum mad monsoon that we've had around here, I mean, I've never seen wind so powerful. Our power was out until about 11:15, and we didn't know that, of course, so we made a call to cancel the show on Tuesday, but we missed you. Thank you for being here. We do this show every Tuesday and Thursday right here on all the social media platforms. We love it. Great and Good News is really about bringing the world to Waxahachie and then having healthy, fun discussions about a number of things. So, as Jeff said, and both showed by him speeding through things, we have a ton to talk about today. So, we have, by way of update, I want to just share a couple things real quick. Jeff will weigh in as well. Texas Theater, we wrote a story on yesterday about the Texas Theater. The rumor was that Texas Theater just across the way here, downtown Waxahachie, was closing. It is not closing, but it is ceasing to be what it has been since John Garrett bought it for the last 2 or 3 years, and that was a concert venue. It's just I admire John so many ways. It's a tough business model. You're stuck with 250 seats. You want to bring in people that are going to fill up those seats. Those people charge thousands and thousands
In
and
a town where
thousands.
people don't want to pay high prices.
Yeah, so I mean, you get an act like a good act that's going to draw people. They're going to want to pay more than what $250. I mean, 250 seats times a reasonable amount of money would add up to.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult business model. So what the Texas Theater has become or is becoming is really a private venue. Maybe there'll be things here and there, but it's really gonna step back and make it a private venue and let people lease it out and hopefully make some money that way.
I hope it works because
I do
that place is so gorgeous.
John's done a great job with it, and I get it. I know that it's a tough business model, and John knew that going in, but there's only so much you can do with being locked in with those number of seats. So that's the update on that. I want to mention to you, I am doing, and Jeff will do his own in the future, various TikTok designed videos, but I want to let you know that I'm doing a top 10 countdown of the worst liberals in Congress, meaning either in the House or in the Senate. I started yesterday with number 10 is Hakeem Jeffries.
No relation to
goober.
Jeffrey Michael.
A goober.
A goober.
And let me tell you, we're going to talk about it in just a minute.
Is 10 the bottom?
10,
and you work your way to number one?
Number one, yeah. So 10's the best of the worst.
Okay.
So we're headed to number one. I've got them all laid out. Sammy and I may do one this afternoon or another one tomorrow. Number 9, but uh,
Oh,
but
everyone's gonna get a full segment?
everyone's going to get a full 3 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but I'm tired of what's been going on, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But the issue with Hakeem Jeffries is that Hakeem Jeffries is the leader of the Klan. He took over for Pelosi, and he's supposed to be respected enough so that when he says in this State of the Union or the address that Trump gave the other night, don't act a fool, and people won't act a fool. But we saw, and he did supposedly say we're not going to do that, but you can see how much weight his leadership
zero
has.
respect, evidently.
Yeah, Sammy, we went off.
And
So
and then that carried over the
yeah, so we're going to talk about that too. So number 10 on my way to number one is Hakeem Jeffries. So if you want to see that, it's on Sammy's put it on all of our platforms, but it is designed specifically for TikTok. All right.
Hey Sam, do you put the list or you just
Nope.
show this
No, no,
to
no. Nobody knows
keep
the
them in
list.
suspense?
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm
Oh
not. I'm
man.
not. I'm not
I
revealing.
want those people on the list to be wiggling,
Well,
waiting.
well, maybe
Okay,
they
it's
will
not my
be.
deal. It's not my
Well,
deal.
number 9 is well, you'll see. I will say this: number 9 is a senator who did stolen valor kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that
Okay.
when I do it. So anyway, the speech the other night, it was not a State of the Union speech. It was a special invitation by Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, for Trump to come and address uh, Congress. And it was an hour and 40 something minutes, I think, or it was long,
Yeah.
99 minutes, I think it was. So in that, let's put aside what Trump said. What I want to focus on is what we saw and what we witnessed. And let me start off by saying this, that the Democrats' response in the moment, and these aren't, I just wrote these down. They can't stand, and I'm talking about standing up. They can't find it in themselves to stand up for a young, strong, brave little boy, 13 years old, whose aspirations are to be a police officer or in the Secret Service. They can't stand enough. They couldn't find the what do you want? Wherewithal to stand up for him.
Respect.
Yeah, could stand up for him as Trump gave him uh, a honorary Secret Service agent declaration
Right.
card. And you saw the little boy, his daddy held him up and he held up the card. Uh, but the liberals, those same freaking people, can march with BLM. All right, so they can't stand for a black African American boy in in a speech where he was being honored, and that little boy will never forget what Trump did for him. He will always remember it, and he was hugging Trump in the Oval Office afterwards. But these people that we saw on screen can't stand for him, but they can march with BLM. We saw, I don't know how many women. I happen to be a big fan of the color pink, hence the color pink today. But we saw how many, I don't know how many, say 10, 15 women dressed in pink to honor women in America. Yet they voted, every dang one of them that we saw voted against uh, a law that would prevent biological men from playing in women's sports. Tell me how that is not mentally deranged. And then we watch their behavior with their tariffs and their little placard cards, their little pickleball things, whatever. Um, uh, they they want to complain and moan and groan and protest against tariffs, but not a single one of them ever said anything when Biden, when he took office, extended many of Trump's tariffs. So that's what we're dealing with. We just happen to, and it's good for those of us who want sensibility brought back to America. We were lucky enough to witness their stupidity that is manifested in them not being able to stop doing this stuff. Yes.
Yes, it's inexcusable behavior for the circumstances. There is something called decorum, and there was no decorum shown. And there's something called respect, and there's something called common sense, and there's something called common courtesy, and there's something called how did your mother raise you?
Yeah.
Did your mother raise you to act that way? She gave you the wherewithal to get elected to high offices. That same mother that taught you that did not teach you anything about bad behavior.
That's a great. That is perfectly said. And I don't want to harp on Jasmine Crockett because I have plenty of stuff to say about her later. But she was on video. Well, first of all, she walked out the other night, but either last night or the night before, after the speech, she said "F you" to Elon Musk on air. She said the words, and then she also said last night that when asked by some dopey reporter who's just egging her on, she said that Trump is Putin's hoe. Now, that same mother that you're asking the question of, what must imagine if Sammy was in Congress? And I heard him say that I'd beat the living, I don't care if he's 45 or 65 or 25. I'd beat the living daylights out of him for acting like a fool in front of all the world. So where are the parents? Where are those around her? Jasmine Crockett represents uh, part of our community. She's not our rep, thank goodness,
She's our
but
neighbor.
she's right here. So you make an excellent point. Terry says what the Democrats did during Trump's presidential speech was disgraceful for their party. Both Jasmine Crockett and Al Green are an embarrassment for our state of Texas. That's exactly right. And I'm going to address Jasmine Green. Jasmine Green.
Oh,
I'm
she's
going to.
on your 10 list. I know that.
Oh yeah, she's on my top. Matter of fact, I'm going to have a column on Saturday, digital only column about Jasmine Crockett, and you'll be proud of me because I'm being respectful in my column. I'm not just, calling her a hoe and whatever else she wants to come up with. I'm just going to give a reasonable case as to why she's an example of why character in Congress matters.
I'll be the judge
Um,
after I read it.
okay, good. So, what else did you think about that the whole event? I mean, good, bad, and ugly.
Um, I did notice of the pink and reds, a few of them, just a very few of them clapped a couple of times. But and I would say this.
About when it came up about Ukraine, they clapped.
I don't. Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
Um, it's always been a tradition that when you've got, you know, they could intersperse people, but no, 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 no. You keep all your Dems on one and all the
right.
Republicans,
Yeah,
and it's always been that one side stays mon-
yeah,
mostly quiet.
yeah,
But the thing is, when you're off of political things and you're about praising great people, uh, and these praises for people have nothing to do with political side. There's no telling what political side any one of those people is on, but it's just it's sad and it's shameful.
yeah. I
Let's
mean,
let's not
you
just beat
can't
a dead
stand
horse. I don't know.
you can't stand for families whose loved ones or children were murdered by illegal immigrants. You can't stand for those people. You can't.
Well, because you
What's
see, that's the deal. It ties into the
well,
immigration
I get
policy,
it.
and they don't like the
I get
policy,
it.
and it's all got a trickle down
I
effect in
get it.
their
So
life.
stay sitting on your butt and can you at least clap? I mean, it's sick. And
It
and
is.
you know what? There have been many a day in my career where I have been hesitant to not jump into that and let it rip. I'm not. Those days are over. I think it's time for us to call a spade, and what we see, and that's just the way it is. Uh, I'm not going to be disrespectful in how I do it, but enough's enough. That's why I'm doing this top 10 list.
Yeah.
So speaking of Trump and well, I didn't say Trump, but I said Ukraine.
Yeah.
Sammy's going to show. It's a 10-minute video, but we're not going to go that long. I'm just going to have Sammy post it. Many of you, if not all of you, probably have seen it
Sure.
by now. But it's Trump and Zelensky last Friday afternoon. Let me set this up by saying in case you don't know, within an hour or so, or an hour and a half or so of that meeting in the Oval Office, Zelensky met with a number of Democrat, both senators and I think some House of Representatives. Uh, my guess is the common sense side of me says that they all met so as to, for those senators and House of Representatives on the left to say to Zelensky, "Here's what you ought to do when you get in front of Trump, in front of the cameras, in front of the world, as it were. Here's what you ought to do." And so, because Zelensky had agreed to that mineral deal 3 times, he agreed to it and then didn't sign it. He obviously had a chip on his shoulder when he came in there. He was wearing this dopey little outfit and he had his arms crossed. All the body language that says, I'm mad and I don't want to be here. I think he was set up by those on the left to go into the Oval Office and do what they would have done, which was combat Trump. So it played out. And as a result, Sammy's going to start it. We'll let it play for a little bit, and then we'll cut it off, and then Jeff and I'll talk about it. Feel free to weigh in. So go for it, Sam.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world. And I
Look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied it, our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea.
Fast forward a little bit. I'm going to
so he
let you all
occupied it
see
on
if you, just a
2014.
quick second or two
So
of them getting into it, essentially, because this is the
during-
beginning of it.
You know, everybody's seen this.
I know. I wanted to see what just would pop up right there, Sam. Let it happen. Let's see.
what do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's
All
going
right,
to
so
end the
essentially,
destruction of your
now,
country.
that's when
But
it
if
really
you-
Mr.
starts.
President, with respect.
When Zelensky said to Vance, called him JD first of all,
Yeah.
and said, "What do you mean, JD?" That's when it really started getting heated because JD Vance said he put his hand out like, "Come on, you don't come in here, you don't respect the president of the United States and expect to us sit here like wallflowers." That's when it all started. So the meeting, my column yesterday was to say this is why Trump and Vance both responded the way they responded. A lot of people commented back and reached out to me and said, "Wait a minute, Scott, you're writing about respect, and why this meeting blew up, but you didn't say anything about the disrespect that Trump shows to everybody." Now, I will say that's a valid point. My column wasn't necessarily about who had more disrespect. My column was to say this is why, with a leader like Trump, the, anybody like Zelensky that comes into a meeting with Trump and acts that way he won't get what he wants. You're not going to outpower Trump. Trump is disrespectful at times. Now, I think a lot of it is tongue in cheek, but still, that's disrespectful. He calls people goofy names, bad names, whatever.
As do you.
Yeah,
As do I.
and he calls, Little Rocket Man. In North Korea calls him the Rocket Man, but he wants to have great relationships with him. He made a point there about how do you expect us to achieve peace if you want me, Donald Trump, and JD Vance to take the side of Ukraine and call Putin all these names and then say, "Oh, hey, Vladimir Putin, by the way, can you come meet with us so we can achieve peace?" It doesn't work that way. If you want me to participate in something that's going to be good, you're not going to uh, belittle, demean, criticize, make fun of
Right.
me, and then expect me to forget it. So the meeting just devolved into a something I think Trump really likes. And I think Vance showed his mettle as well. Vance was not going to put up with this kind of nonsense. And Vance and I don't know how old Zelensky is, but Vance and Zelensky aren't that much different in age. So uh, that I think that meeting, I don't know about you guys watching, but I think that meeting kind of said, "Okay, world, this is the way that we're going to do things now," and I think it was good for us to see. Any more thoughts you have on that?
No, I'm busy being preoccupied.
You lost something, didn't you? Yeah, that's all right. Uh, anyway, so we're going to see. We now see as a result of that meeting, subsequent to that meeting, we now have heard that Zelensky is going to sign the deal.
Yeah, now I'm back on board.
Yeah. So, but here's the funny thing to me. It's not funny, but it's lack of a better word. I don't understand why Zelensky wouldn't just. Of course, I'll do a mineral deal with you. There ain't anybody going to come mess with Ukraine if American companies and the military America's military might has a reason to defend Ukraine,
Right.
and $500 billion of digging for minerals and using minerals, mining for minerals.
He
Trump
he
isn't going to let anybody touch
he
that.
he made a comment about now if we got the mineral deals and then we're over there with you with the minerals. Now we got our people there, and so now if anything happens to any of our people, now now we're
Yeah,
really in it. And I'm telling you what, you'll get a higher level of defense from us ever if we're there with
yeah,
the mineral deal.
yeah. I mean, I don't. Why couldn't Zelensky figure that out on his own? I believe it's because he has warmed up to the left. Obviously, as J.D. Vance pointed out in that meeting, he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, Mr. President to Volodymyr, he said, you were campaigning for our opponent back in the fall, and here you are today expecting us to just act like we don't know that or we don't remember that.
Right.
Um, if you're not if you're dumb enough to walk away from this, you're pretty dang dumb. I
Right.
mean, it's a genius. To me, it represents the genius of Donald Trump.
And now we've seen a change. It happened fairly quickly and it continues to evolve where he has become apologetic
Yes.
to what happened without taking total blame.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of a things didn't work out the way they should have type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, he's now says he's going to sign the rare
Mineral
earth
deal.
deal,
Yeah.
and he says he's ready to negotiate. And I know that he's going to have to accept the fact that he's going to lose some land. And to that end, we do have to remember that the history of Ukraine is not so much as being a free nation. It's long been part of old Russia
Right.
and then part of the Soviet Union. And but I read a quote the other day and I thought, oh my gosh, this applies so much. And it goes like this. In negotiations, 99% of the movement happens in the last 1% of the time frame,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of talking. A
Okay,
lot of
you got
talking.
me. You got me. You
Yeah.
got me.
I agree with that for
Yeah.
sure. So one last thing I'll say, and we'll move on to our next topic, is that as we're going to talk about in our next topic, that many on the left, almost all of them, are like Trump is siding with Putin. We become pro-Russia. We flip side. Blah 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 blah. Without a bit of understanding, and although some do understand it, they're just going to deny it. Reagan had a great relationship with
I was gonna
Gorbachev,
say that.
right?
Put down,
We
tear
know
down
we
that wall.
we know Clinton had a relationship, I think a good relationship with Russia.
Probably
We
Gorbachev.
yeah, I can't remember who at the time, but probably. We know that George Bush had a relationship, uh, and so
You
having
have to have a
well, yeah,
relationship.
if you're going to create a peace deal, you have to have a relationship that gets it done. So this nonsense about we're pro-Russia, I don't. That's about as silly as it gets. Putin is a thug. He's a murderer. We all know that. Um,
How
but
about World War II? There was something called the Allies,
yeah,
and they were part of crushing Germany.
that's
Hey, as
right.
a matter of fact, without the Russian help, we'd all be speaking German right now still,
Yeah. So
especially those French.
the idea that people on the left believe that we're now pro-Trump, I mean pro-Putin, is silly at face value, and it's even sillier under face value when you get below the get into the details. So that said, one of the things that has become apparent to me, and I'm probably certain to many of you, is that if you listen to members of Congress, particularly those on the left, you will find a resounding theme these days that if you did not know who they were or what they did, you just listened to them. You couldn't even see them, but you listened to what they were saying. You would believe they are anti-America, anti-Trump, anti-America, particularly after the meeting with Zelensky last Friday, and with the talk of having to involve Putin and Trump wanting to talk to Putin and all that sort of thing. So what I wanted to do was show some examples in video form of people out there, and I'll tell you who they are. Sammy's got them in in order. I want you to listen to, and they're brief, but I want you to listen to Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly is I believe he's a senator from the state of Arizona, was a former astronaut. His wife is uh, uh,
Gabby?
Gabby, yeah, Clifford. I forget her last name, but she was the one killed, not killed, but shot in the head in 2010 or 12
She
by,
was in office then too.
yeah, she was. And so Mark Kelly is now a sitting public official in D.C. I believe he's on the Senate side. Was a talk that he might be the vice presidential candidate. But anyway, here is Mark Kelly just answering questions or giving an interview or creating a video. You listen to it and you tell me what you think. Go ahead, Sam.
And he was bullied in the Oval Office. And Margaret, that just makes us look weak. I think Donald Trump was trying to look tough. J.D. Vance was trying to look tough. The only winner in that exchange is Putin, who's a criminal, who's killing, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians. So it was a sad day for our country. It was a dumpster fire of diplomacy. It should not have been done. That kind of negotiation should not be done in public in front of cameras.
That is
When we
so
had our
true.
meeting earlier in the day with Zelensky, he has this like habitual gratitude. He was very thankful. And the chairman of the Armed Services Committee kicked the cameras out of the room before we started to talk. That's the way this should be handled, not what Donald Trump did.
So
He was
that's Mark Kelly. You heard him there say that we met with Zelensky prior to that meeting. Now, I don't think Trump and Vance ever expected that meeting to go that way. That was not the purpose of the meeting. And I,
Know that he was meeting with the Democrats
I don't
first?
know if they
Yeah.
know that, but they knew because the first bit of time, I don't know how many minutes of that meeting that we saw the clips of with Zelensky and Trump and Vance, went well. And then it got to a point where it turned. So I don't think Trump or Vance expected that. So when Mark Kelly says it shouldn't be played out like that, I totally agree. But what are you going to do if you're the president of the United States and some other foreign leader comes in and wants to threaten you, tell you that you're gonna face the effects of war at some point, so you better help us. What are you going to do if you're Trump? But if you listen to Kelly, to me, it sounds like someone who thinks America's a schmuck country and that we're in the wrong and uh, that we're pro-Russian and that Zelensky is the main guy. All right, so that's Mark Kelly out of Arizona. Now I want you to hear. We all know this dude Rush Limbaugh, one of my favorites of all time. Called him Pencil Neck Geek, Shifty Schiff, all that stuff. But this is Adam Schiff. He's on my top
Squirrely.
10.
He's squirrely.
He's on my top 10 in my top 10. So, Sammy, play Adam Schiff.
We don't ignore the long and important role that we have played in defending democracy. That is not who we are. We're just not what we saw displayed by the President of the United States today. And I think we all have a role to play right now in the defense, not just of Ukraine, but of what the country stands for, of our values. I would say to our allies around the world, what they witnessed to might be Donald Trump, but it is not America. And we'll have to get through this period. We'll have to struggle through this period. We'll have to be more reliant. When I say we, the freedom-loving people of the world, are going to have to be more reliant on other leaders in the world because we cannot rely on this president. And it's a terrible way to feel about a president of the United States, but the shameful display we had today is so antithetical to everything that our country has stood for, and I hope it is.
So there you go. Tell me if I'm wrong, but if you didn't know who that was, you were just listening to the sound of the word. Sounds like someone anti-America. And for Adam Schiff, of all people in Washington, D.C., to talk about character and principles and so on and so forth, he was censured in the House for all of what he did with the Russia hoax. He was the guy who said he has definitive proof. If you remember, Adam Schiff was the guy who made up a phone call, the words, the transcript of a phone call between Trump and I don't know who it was Trump supposedly was talking to, but it was a lie, made it up, and it was proven. So that's who we're talking about here. So when you see that, when you actually see the person saying it, it makes sense that this guy hates Trump. He's Trump derangement syndrome guy, whatever. Uh, but this is a senator now talking about America. And in my lifetime, I've never heard politicians speak that way about this country. And it's a crying shame. And again, Schiff is about the worst. And I'm telling you right now, if Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, the DOJ and the FBI, nail his pencil neck, we're a better country for it.
United we stand, divided we fall.
That's right. The next one up is not a politician, but a reporter. And I have him on the list because this is not, I don't believe it's going to sound anti-American, but it speaks to the kind of the same thing. So, Sammy, this is Peter Ducey of Fox News.
Right before the Oval Office. These Democrats that he met with were telling him to not accept the deal. Don't go to the Oval Office and sign anything with Trump. And so they kind of, I believe that the way Goodwin describes it, they let him off a cliff. And they did.
Yeah, they did. But
After they had all agreed in principle to the deal. And let's not forget, this is the collusion. We spent how many years talking about freaking collusion? And it was all these exact same Democrats who are now colluding with Zelensky on this very issue, who were attacking and ultimately impeached President Trump about collusion.
Is collusion not a rare earth mineral?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, Sam. So that.
well, meanwhile,
That's Peter Ducey of Fox News, a wonderful reporter. He was talking to Charlie Hurt, who is the opinion page editor of the Washington Times in DC. And Charlie is basically saying, both of them were saying, this was the Zelensky was coached by the senators and congressmen before going in there, telling him, don't take this deal, don't do it. And we saw what happened. So these are two pundits, like I guess we are on a much smaller scale, but saying it was all a setup. It was set up. Trump and Vance did not know what was going to happen, and when it happened, I think Trump and Vance did what I would want to believe I would do, and that is, hang on a second. This is not how this is going to go down.
All those people are thinking, because I am not the president and my party, led by Kamala, is not the president, then I should undermine. And then we're back
This is
to
what he did.
uniting. United we stand.
That is as anti-American as it gets, undermining the presidency, isn't it? And then the last one,
sore losers.
the last one, this dude won't. You'll know who this is. This is I want to tell you, but you'd know anyway. Chuck Schumer, the longtime senator from the state of New York. He's been leader of the Senate off and on because he's been there so dang long. He is the quintessential example of why we need term
limits.
So, Sammy, play Chuck Schumer.
Fox interview released last night, President Trump spoke about the war in Ukraine, and some of his comments sounded straight from a Russian propaganda playbook. Rather than speak the truth, rather than acknowledge Vladimir Putin's role in starting this war, President Trump amazingly blamed Ukraine for Putin's invasion. To quote the president, "You should never have started it," he said. He was saying that to President Zelensky. This is disgusting, disgusting, after how this man has fought so hard and so valiantly.
Okay, Sam.
And it deliberately distorts the truth.
So there you go. That's Chuck Schumer. Not surprising, but once again, you would if you didn't know who was talking and you just heard their words, you would say that person is anti-American or is angry at America. He is the leader in the Senate of the Democrat Party and is essentially putting Zelensky way up on a pedestal and slamming the president of the United States. Here's the thing about Zelensky for me is we don't know where a dollar of that money went. There's no accountability. And so Zelensky, a president of a country that was already known as the most corrupt country in Europe, uh, has been given what $300 billion somewhere, give or take a few
When we
billion.
talk about that money, um, doesn't a lot of that count the arms that were given?
Well,
I don't think we just gave.
I don't think I think
There's
that
nothing to spend 350 billion on over there anymore.
I don't think that it counts. I think that represents what Biden gave Zelensky, whether it was arms or whether it was money
Right.
during Biden's terms. A lot of what Zelensky used and uses, I think continues to use, is what, and Trump said it in this meeting. He said, I gave you javelins, which are armory that destroy tanks. Obama gave you sheets
Right.
so you'd stay warm. Uh, and so I I think that's a different amount of money. I could be wrong, but it's not this. I think the sum of money we're talking about here is what Biden did for Zelensky and
But I
what
think
Schumer's talking about.
really was mostly arms.
Yeah, I don't know
It
how
was those.
that, but
It's the javelins that
that's
we're
the
talking
well,
about.
that's the point. Is there's
But
no
we don't
form of
know. Yeah.
accountability. So and JD Vance has said, tell us how the money. Other senators and congressmen, how did you spend the money? Um, here's so you hear all that and you say, if you didn't know any better, you'd say, golly, the citizens of America hate their president. They hate Trump. Let me share with you this poll that just came out on the 4th. What's today? This is Tuesday. This is a CBS News poll, CBS News YouGov, which is a pollster, a poll. This is taken after the speech. This is of those who watched the speech, so it's a poll after the speech. I want to hold it up to you. This is just the overall results of that. 76% of those watching that speech approve of the speech. 23% disapprove. Now that's a CBS poll. Now it's not a Fox News poll. It's not a Scott and Jeff poll. It's not, the Republican Party poll. It's a CBS YouGov poll. But that's what it says. Now let me tell you what it says underneath that headline. So listen to this. I'm going to read each of these questions. In general, did you approve or disapprove of the president's speech tonight? 58% strongly approved, 18% somewhat approved, 7% somewhat disapproved, 16% strongly disapproved. Did the speech make you feel, and then check the ones, 54% said proud, 68% said were hopeful. 27% of the people polled said they made them worried, and 16% of those polled made them angry. Whether or not you agreed with him, how much time did Donald Trump spend talking about the issues you care about? 63% said a lot, 28% said a little, and 9 said none at all. In his speech tonight, did you think Donald Trump was presidential? 74% said yes, 26 no. Divisive, 46% said yes, 54% said no. Unifying, to your point, united we 62% said yes, it was unifying. 38% said no. 71% said it was inspiring. 29% said it wasn't. And 74% said entertaining.
I didn't think the divisive numbers and the unifying numbers were inconsistent.
They're not. That you think they are, they're not.
They are.
Oh,
When you're 62 on one and then
oh, I see. Yeah,
yeah.
they are. You're
Yeah.
right. They are. Whether or not you agreed with it, do you think Donald Trump has a clear plan to deal with inflation? Yes, said 68%. 32% said no. In his speech, do you think Donald Trump described the crime problem in the U.S. today as not as bad as it really is? 10%. Worse than it really is? 22%. About as it really is? 68% said Trump defined it as about as it really is. Did you approve or disapprove of the Speaker of the House having a member of Congress removed from the chamber for interrupting Donald Trump's speech? 76% of the people watching approved of it, 24% disapproved, and we now know that along with 10 Democrats in the House, uh, all Republicans, I think all Republicans, censored the crazy Al Green.
And what happened this morning was when they called him
Yeah.
down to be censored, a crowd of Democrats rushed down and surrounded him, and they all started singing, We shall overcome.
Yeah, so even more, I mean, I don't get it. Two more questions in this poll. In his speech, did you like or dislike Donald Trump's plans for tariffs? 65% liked, 35% disliked. Do you like his plans for immigration and the border? 77% liked, 23% don't. Wasting government spending, 77% like, 23% don't. The conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Do you like or dislike Donald Trump's plans for the conflict between Ukraine and Russia? 73% of those watching said yes, 27% said they disliked it. And the last question, generally speaking, do you think of yourself as and this is important because this is CBS polling people, same way they've always polled people. Do you think of yourself as a Democrat? 20%, Republican 51%, Independent 27%, and not sure 2%. So the polling system that CBS has used all these years, which almost always produces positive results for the Democrats, produces positive results for Trump in this case, and more people said they were Republican in this than I guarantee you any other poll they've done in decades.
And here's the startling one to me. What's the one about the 77% on controlling government spending?
Yeah.
Okay, which
In his speech, did you like or dislike Donald Trump's plans for wasting government spending?
okay, which is
77%.
basically all the Doge thing.
Yeah.
All right. So remember this: 48.5% voted for Kamala, and now 77 are approving of the Doge, and that's telling me that 28% of people, how am I trying to say it? Uh, well, obviously the Republican, there's a lot of Democrats who
Oh, they're
voted
in
for
that
her
70. Yeah.
who actually support what's happening in Doge,
Right.
but all the politicians are ripping it,
Right.
ripping it, ripping it.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to read
Yeah.
what was below the line here,
Yeah.
because the American people are in favor of Doge. And so that's why Elon knows that. Trump knows that. They all know that. And so they're like, cry. I mean, Rachel Maddow and those idiots, cry all you want to. We're not stopping. We're not stopping. And again, I'm telling you, my wife and I watch Rachel Maddow for about 15 to 20 minutes every night because I want to see what's being said. And if you didn't know any better, if you just relied on Rachel Maddow, you would think America is going down the tank and that everybody in this country hates Trump and hates what he's doing. And it's just the opposite. That's why MSNBC is going down and why, you can pay her $1 bazillion. I don't care. She is a liar. Rachel Maddow is, just like the rest of them, as much a liar as anybody on the planet. All right. So there you go. I'm going to do the random thoughts. And Jeff's wearing green today. You all noticed that. So there's a reason for that. And he's going to tell you before we sign off. But I was thrilled I was interested in why you're wearing green. So you're going to tell them all about it here in a little bit. 5 random thoughts. Having gratitude. No, wait, that's the other day. Let me get to the right page. So my 5 random thoughts for today are: don't ever swim with sharks. And I'm not talking about well, I am.
Both ways, yeah.
Don't get out in the water and swim with sharks. But if you find yourself with sharks, get out of the water, figuratively and literally. Pink is a great color men ought to embrace.
I love it when I wear pink.
I hate, and let me tell you, I don't hate much in life, but I hate and Sammy knows why, the purest definition of hate. I hate monkeys. All right? I hate monkeys.
The ones in the
One of
zoo?
these,
Those
I
guys?
hate every monkey.
Yeah.
And one of these days I'll go into depth. When I was 12
Okay.
years old, I was attacked by a monkey.
Well, that'll leave a guy scarred for life.
And
yeah.
I am scarred for life. My head, blood, stitches, all of it. I hate monkeys. And I
Is
don't
that
know
your
what
thought,
they
or
do.
is that a prequel to your thought?
No, that's my thought.
Okay.
The aroma of our grandparents' house was the best, right? Mama's, you could smell it on her clothes. You could smell it in her house. It was awesome. And the last one is being happy to see others succeed as a gift. And I challenge you, if you struggle with seeing other people succeed, even those you don't like, let it go. Just be happy for people as they succeed. If people succeed and we're happy about it, the world will be a better place. All right. So there's my 5 random thoughts for today. So the he said question is, why are most mainstream companies liberal? Why is that? Why are most mainstream media companies liberal? I don't get it.
Well, it's changing right now. I can tell you that. I saw these figures the other day on viewership in terms of millions, I guess it was, and Fox was at 5.4, ESPN was at 31, HSNBC was at 11 or at 1.1, and CNN at 0.5. It is shifting. I think it's because um, when the liberals got into power, which has been all but
Yeah, the 4 years of Bush.
when you go back to Obama in '08, so we're 17 years and we had 4 years of Trump. Okay.
Well,
So
we had, yeah. Well, even if you go back to
we'll,
Clinton years, we've
yeah, but
had,
we'll call
yeah,
that the
okay,
modern times,
yeah,
but four out of 17 have been under, um, not just Democratic, but heavily Democratic and heavily liberal Democrats. And so, um, they were jumping on a winning ship.
yeah,
Okay. And then when Trump was there was so much backlash and so much trouble caused that they could stay on that ship because they were helping to create the undermining of the president.
right,
So basically, I think it's because they were riding a winning
yeah,
team, and so they just haven't quite adjusted to it since.
yeah. I think you're right about that. The left and the media, the left politically and the media are go to the same parties.
Yeah.
The media is desperate to be accepted by those
Yeah.
people, and so they would do all they could to support them, like they do now.
And then there's the overlap of the entertainment industry too.
Exactly,
Okay. And
exactly.
the entertainment industry feeds off of the media. You've got your Entertainment Tonight and all those
Yeah,
other shows, and then the Oscars are on it and the Emmys are on it and the Tonys are on it. All
right.
those things in the entertainment world feed to
No
the
doubt.
media world.
We don't have time for me to go through all the specifics, but I am going to at some point share with you the phenomenon with the mainstream media, most of them that are left, and the Democrats, the Democrat Party, is that they keep doing the same things that make them lose and look stupid and are basically destroying them. They keep doing those same things. The media keeps doing those same things, so much so that the most recent Nielsen ratings lay it all out. And I wanted to share that with you all. So I'll do it at another time when we have more time. Terry says he always wanted a pet monkey growing up, but mom said no. Mom's smart. Monkeys are straight from the devil. They're the devil's animal, devil's pet.
Yeah,
Um,
and we're just this far from being
I
monkeys, and
guess
so just
I don't
this
know.
far evolved from them.
I don't know. Tell you never see him. There's never a good story about a monkey. I'm telling you right now. There's a movie out right now called The Monkey, and it's a scary movie. It's evil. You don't see that the Chihuahua, a movie about the Chihuahua. It's an evil movie. It's The Monkey. All right, we gotta get going because I want them to tell you about uh, you to tell them about why you're wearing green. So we have a poem today or no?
Yeah, we got a poem
Okay, let's
today.
hear it.
Okay, this poem is about one of my dearest friends who's coming down with a couple other friends in the end of March for a hootin' and hollerin' time. They've been down before. Wonderful, wonderful people, college friends for life. And my friend Mike Fisher turned 70. We're all in my generation, we're turning 70. I did a couple poems. I came up for a couple Christmas parties or birthday parties in Minnesota and read poems for birthdays, just like I wrote one for Maury. And by the
Yeah.
way, so anyway, Mike Fisher turns 70, and his middle name is Elmer, and it goes like this: Michael Elmer, kind of a stay-at-homer, has an old-fashioned house with nary a country mouse. He's got go-karts that run. Trust me, they are tons of fun. Loves cutting a crack in the grass. Kart rider, step on the gas. He's got like 40 acres. He's got this huge
Yeah.
track out there. Married to his college sweetheart, Barbara. Blessed with two fine daughters. Just had grandkid number 5. Mercy sakes alive. Michael's named after the archangel who sent Satan to hell, a Catholic God fearing man. If you know him, you're a fan. Had a career selling produce, then made the switch to salad dressings. Now he's part time in a grocery store. Thinks it's fun, not a chore. This guy can fix almost anything summer, fall, winter, or
Spring.
spring. A true handyman, Mike will come up with a plan. 3 years my college roommate. Of this, there's no debate. He's been a dear lifetime friend, a buddy till the end.
Awesome. Very good. Nothing like our close circle,
Nothing
right?
like it. Nothing
All
like it.
right. We got 9 minutes, so we got to do our this day in history.
We've got a short, only 5 today, and we may just throw you up for some bonus
All
stuff.
right, let's do
A
it.
couple from
I'm
Tuesday that
feeling
we
smart
missed.
today. Are you,
You're
Sammy?
feeling smart.
I think so. Do you have another pen?
Yeah, here you go.
Need one.
Well,
Thank
you
you.
just
5.
you're not gonna get any right. What are you keeping track of?
Come on,
You're right. I'll go
leave your
7
boy
and 0.
alone.
All right, let's go.
5 chances to win. I went 5 and 1 because I got one double and I got one wrong. Here we go. President James Monroe signed the Missouri Compromise, which allowed Missouri to join the Union as a slave state and Maine to join as a free state while banning slavery in the northern portion of the Louisiana Territory.
1854.
Very good, Sammy. I would say 1848.
I picked 1850 also. It was 1820.
Oh,
That ain't good.
Okay,
dang it. That was a
I
good
am
guess.
offering bonuses for 3 names at the end. My wife gave me no bonus opportunities, but I'm giving them to you.
Okay, good.
And she's a student of Texas history. The Alamo in San Antonio fell as Mexican forces led by General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna stormed the fortress after a 13-day siege. The battle claimed the lives of all the Texas defenders, including, give me 3 who fought to save the Alamo.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I can't remember it. Nothing
How
comes.
about Davy Crockett?
Oh, I was gonna say Daniel.
How about
Daniel.
James Bowie? Yes, he was
Yes,
the
yeah, yeah.
Bowie knife was named after him, and William Travis.
So the
Okay, okay.
year.
That the Alamo fell.
Why don't I know this?
I have no idea. I'm going to say
I'm-
1892.
1879.
1836.
Oh, Terry had 1853. Oh, David. Yeah, David Crockett. Chuck. There's Chuck. Where you
Chuck.
been, Chuck?
Where you been,
Yeah,
Chuck?
Terry.
Chuck, you only get a bonus for all 3.
All right. Good
All right.
job, Chuck.
The U.S. Supreme
Show off.
Court in the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision. We've always heard about the Dred Scott
Yeah.
versus Sanford decision ruled 7-2 that Scott, an enslaved person, was not an American citizen and therefore could not sue for his freedom in federal court. It also ruled that slavery could not be banned from any federal territory. The decision deepened the national divide over slavery in the years leading up to the Civil War.
So I'm gonna say
What was the last date?
The last date was 36.
1917.
no. 1855.
57.
Can we get out of the 1800s, please, Chef?
We're
Sammy,
going there, we're going
Sammy,
there right
you
now.
know when the Civil War was. You didn't even think on that question.
I wasn't
Use your
listening.
brain. Chuck says 1840. What was the answer?
57.
Uh-uh.
Heavyweight. We had something about this 1 or 2 times
Yeah.
ago. Heavyweight boxing champion Cassius Clay took a new name given to him by the Nation of Islam leader Elijah Muhammad Ali.
It's 1941.
1965.
Dang it.
64, we had this.
I don't remember having
Oh
it,
my
but
God.
anyway, I got it right.
A
Dang it.
bomb being built inside a townhouse in New York by members of the Weather Underground militant leftist group accidentally exploded, destroying the house and killing 3 group members.
That's a bummer.
Children that play with matches.
Is this the last one?
The
Yeah.
last one was 64.
No, is this our last question?
This is our last question.
2015.
2008.
1970.
Oh my.
The Weathermen. It was back in
Wait a
the.
minute. We don't have any up to date.
It was back in
We don't
all
have any
the
temporary questions.
I just went 0 and 5.
Chuck got. Oh, I told you, Sam, you didn't need your pen. Chuck got his right. Way to go, Chuck. All right. Before you get to your green stuff, a couple things I want to say that we haven't said. The Mavericks Are we done with anything else?
We're done. We're done.
Okay,
Mavericks
the
are done.
Mavericks. The Mavericks have lost. Well, Anthony Davis will be back soon.
Oh, you gonna read that quote I brought you?
I think so. But
Okay.
He'll be back soon, and then
he'll be back. He'll probably get hurt again. But we lost, or not we, because I'm the team lost Kyrie the other night for the balance of the year. So when it rains, it pours. I think there's a curse now on Dallas. Meanwhile, the Lakers have won 7 in a row and are marching straight to the playoffs. And call me Sybil, you know, the many personalities, but I'm beginning to be fond now of it going well for Luca, because I felt bad for Luca, and now he's with a new team. I think he'll
What did
always miss Dallas.
what did he ever do wrong?
Well, he whines and he
He whines and he got
wasn't.
fat, but you
It
know, I
drove me
whine and I
crazy.
get fat.
Yeah, the
you know?
Mavs are in disarray. But anyway, I do hope the Lakers do well, although I don't like LeBron. But I do like JJ Redick. So anyway,
Before he reads you this, it came from this morning's Kevin Sheraton column, and I'm always reading snippets to Rita, and I always claim, and I know I'm right about this, that some of the finest writing you will ever see in the newspaper or any place else comes in this from the sports columnist, not so much in the daily events of
right.
the game,
Yeah.
but the sports columnist. Kevin
this is
Sheraton
one.
is a
Well,
writing genius.
I'm going to read something to you, but I got to tell you why I'm reading it. The Mavs just announced 2 days ago that their ticket prices are going up,
Right,
and the
that's what
ticket prices are going up 8.6%. So you get rid of your star.
and 10 for the best seats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You get rid of your star. You in a bad way. You get rid of him. You then you get a good player, a great player, but not enough in most people's minds. You lose your other star, and now you're going to suck. We just lost by 30 last night to somebody. We lost 4 in a row. So to give a price increase, it's just kind of ridiculous. But this is what Kevin Sheridan of the Dallas Morning News said. But given a wound to the civic psyche, still so raw because it just happened, this latest indignity, the price increase, is a little like wild dogs crashing your reception and the wedding planner handing you a bill for an animal show before you can clean the cake from your glasses. Is that not sweet? And then he says, Cuban learned, frankly, we should have figured this out when the Adelsons, the Las Vegas people, billionaires, bought the team. Cuban learned as much when he discovered too late that he no longer called the shots. He should have known better. Vegas people abide by the golden rule, namely those with the gold rule. There you go. So, all right, Jeff, you got 1 minute and a half to tell us why you're wearing green.
Well, I'm wearing green because yesterday and today started the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament. You got 8 in the big schools and 8 in the small schools. People complaining by splitting it up into the big and small, but they had to. In my Edina Hornets dump, oh go Hornets go, who are the defending champions and 14-time state champions. I got this when
they won it last year.
They won it last year. The boys and the girls won it last year.
Wow.
And I got this hat when they'd only won 10, including in my formative years, in my high school days and grade school days.
I didn't know they had hats back then.
13. This was 13. And so that's where I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Edina hat. I got an Edina hat, and the Hornets start at 8 o'clock tonight. And if anybody does care, probably nobody does, you can go onto the internet and go to KSTP, as in Kevin St. KS Thomas Paul 45, and you can
watch it.
You can watch it live.
Are you going to watch it?
But tonight my Hornets play at 11, and guess what? I already committed and I bought tickets. I'm going to see Atlanta Rhythm Section
tonight
in Arlington tonight.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be watching other games. Yeah.
Voodoo and the Vibes. Isn't that a song they sing? Atlanta Rhythm Section.
That's a line from the song.
Yeah, that's a line. It's a great song. All right. Very good. You're looking sharp.
Thank you.
Pink or green? We need to come up with a.
Well, you can be.
Well,
pink,
we do have our
green.
orange
That's
color,
fine.
but pink.
All right.
Pink.
What you got for a meme?
Oh yeah. Well, we'll do our meme later. But thank you for being here. We love doing this with you, and thank you for watching. Tell your friends all about it. Watch for the countdown on TikTok under Grit and Good News of the 10 worst liberals in Congress. You the man.
Happy birthday, Mike, tomorrow, March 7th, turning 70. And remember, something he never does, don't write a check you can't cash. Boom.